What is up, Need for Speed Racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut, and we're here with the Nissan Skyline R34, the return of Godzilla. This is one of the better A-Class cars that we have in the space right now. It's quite fast. It'll do 170 mile an hour in a lot of the tracks that you'll play in the A playlists, so it'll walk down a majority of the other cars in the space. Most of the other A cars that we have do 150, 160 on the high end, and so this having that 170 top speed, really, if you can control the car and keep the momentum up, the top speed is really, really attractive, and you'll just catch up to everybody because you've just got the speed. So when you're going through the pipes, when you're running down the downhill zone, there's a couple different tracks that you've got that for the high speed run on the highway. This car does really, really well, so we definitely want to bring it to you. My buddy Hex originally had it. We liked it. He was beating me in it a few times because he had that higher top speed. Got a hold of it, made a few tweaks, added a little horsepower there, took a little torque out there, just made it a little better so that way on the high end of things it would perform really well for you. And so this is what we've got. I think the build is very competent for the motor parts available for A-Class. So let's dig right in and let me show you guys this Skyline. For the engine, we are running the 2.6 liter i6. It is the sport motor. It's all the way to the left, bronze. For the parts, we are running the Pro induction, which is a silver part. We are running just iron basic ECU. We are running iron basic fuel system. We are running gold super exhaust. We are running gold super roots supercharger. We are running just regular bronze sport nitrous. We are running elite suspension, not the road suspension, just the regular suspension. But that is the platinum regular suspension. We're running bronze sport brakes. We are running gold grip tires. They are super tires. They're the golden ones, the grippy boys. We made some sacrifices on the two handling pieces. Instead of the elite road and elite grip, we made a couple of tweaks to get a couple more points to give you a little more horsepower in this build, and it really helps the car walk down the other ones and get up to speed a little faster, so it's worth it. We are running just the basic bronze sport clutch. We are running the 5-speed sport transmission. That's the bronze part. We are running the elite platinum differential. For auxiliaries, I run nitrous grip, nitrous near miss. That's up to you guys. With this car, you're not going to launch as hard as some of the other ones because it is down on horsepower in comparison. But other than that, it's pretty good. You might consider running nitrous draft. You are probably going to find yourself behind a few people at the start of the race just because this car is not quite as peppy at the low speeds. The draft will help you get that nitrous bottle up and be able to catch up. And it's really nice when you're on the highway to have a full bottle and just burn past everybody and get it going. Fifth gear is really long in this car. It'll take you from 130 all the way to 170. So it's like 40 mile an hour for one gear. It's a little slow to climb, but it does get there and it goes hard. I love it. So watch the gameplay clips for that. You'll see the car perform pretty well. For the handling portion of this, we are 100% grip. You're going to slide that slider all the way to the left. 100%. Steering sensitivity, 2 clicks to the right. That's personal preference, but I felt it made the car turn pretty good. We are running 100% downforce on this build. You have to keep it in the class. Anywhere else on that slider, and it's not going to be a 209. So run it all the way high, get it to 209. Traction control is off. Drift entry, off. That does it for the performance portion of the build. It will give you a top speed of 170, horsepower 390, max torque 405. This car does really well. We're really happy with it. We spent hours tuning this the other night just trying to squeak and eke out every little bit of performance we could to try to make it the most viable possible, because like I say, it is a little hard to drive on the low end. This is a car that really rewards a driver that has good lines, knows how to carry corner speed, and really can make the most of like getting the boost, getting the traffic oncoming, stuff like that, to get that yellow boost to stay up. This isn't going to win every playlist because there's a couple that are pretty tight and they're circuit tracks, and this car just isn't as strong as some of the other ones we have. But it is very good overall, and I definitely wanted to bring it because we're running it over on my channel. There's a lot of my friends running this car, and so we're getting lots of questions about it. And there's a lot of you Skyline boys that want the R34 to be good. So A-Class, here it is. It's quite good. We like it a lot. For the styling portion of this, wide body matters. Watch the gameplay clips at the end of the video. You know, check, see how the car handles. You might learn something there. Wide body matters. Ride height matters. Maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. For the body parts, I am running it's the second one over, 2 of 3. It's the stock one. That one, all that does is add like a little point up by the mirrors, but it doesn't actually change the body or change the width of the tires at all. The Speed Hunters kit makes it wider. This is an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's really stable. It doesn't really need a wide body kit, so I'm not running one. You'll notice I'm also not running a front splitter. The car's already pretty long, being a 4-door. Excuse me, not a 4-door. The all-wheel drive system. This car's long. It's longer than a lot of the other ones. 4-door. That'd be dope. 4-door Skyline would be really dope. Better call somebody. Let them know. Anyway. We're not running a front splitter. I'm not running a diffuser of any kind back here. There's just no reason to try to increase the length of the car. It just really doesn't need it. This car is very stable as it is. It handles really well. It's a lot of fun. So just do you, boo-boo. Make it look any way you want. I am running the widest wheels and tire setup that I know. So we are running the Weld Racing Weld Star RTs, number 94 of 129. And then the tires where I'm running on there is the Kumos. So that is number 25, 26, and 27, and 28 out of the tire list. Puts the most rubber on the road. I think this car looks great. It's a lot of fun. It's wonderful. R34 is also just an icon, so gonna love that. For the stance, I'm running 2 clicks low. So 1, 2. Camber doesn't matter. Do it any camber you want, you guys. We tested camber. We did one test where the tires were so far in that it looked like a hovercraft, like they were sideways, and it still handled decent. So we learned camber doesn't do much, but ride height does. That changes the hitbox. It changes the weight distribution on the tires, and so having that a little lower is good. If you go too low, the body will clip into different pieces of the terrain, and when your body starts clipping into stuff, it can get really spicy. I literally saw my buddy, we were driving, he was next to me, we were in the Regueras, and he went over a curb and then went straight up. The game just glitched out. Like this game, the Frostbite engine is amazing, and so it can really do a lot of really special things. And so I wouldn't recommend slamming your car. Lowering it a little bit's good, maybe a couple of clicks, but I wouldn't slam it, personally. But you do whatever you want. Other than that, that is going to be the Nissan Skyline in a nutshell. I've got some gameplay footage after this. There's a lot of footage. I would recommend staying tuned, checking it out. There's some good info in there. For those of you that stay and watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you made it this far in the video, please like, subscribe, follow, all the good things. I'll leave it at that. I always try to work in a lot of really good content or a little piece of information that'll help everybody out. And this video is no exception to that. So maybe watch to the end if you've got some time, or come back to it and watch the end. There's some pretty good stuff there. Other than that, that's the Nissan Skyline. Stay tuned for the gameplay. I'm your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out and supporting the channel. You have yourself a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. For this clip, this race is really fun. We launch in 3rd gear. We like to keep it really tight, so that way you can maximize corner distance. The wider the line, the further the track, so better to stay real tight if you can. Always trying to keep a couple tires on the tarmac, but nonetheless we get there. This left turn is a degen line, meaning that we turn super early, we ignore the track completely, and we make as straight a line to that next checkpoint as possible. You'll see there's a couple tracks where we do this, and it really can get you a huge advantage if you do it right. We do that grip turn there, use the yellow boost, come around this corner. Same kind of deal. We're just going to try to stay inside if we can. I was going pretty fast, trying to hold corner speed at the same time, but if you can keep it on the road, that's a good way to do that. This track is downhill. The Skyline does very good on this track. For the first little bit, we don't get to hit our top speed just yet, but we do get going quite fast. This car is faster downhill like all cars are, but it will walk on the other cars in the A-Class space just because of the way the horsepower and stuff is done. It's very, very efficient. That's about the worst part of the run right there, is we get a little loose, the car just gets a little light, and we slide a little bit. But outside of that, we're going to use yellow boost, we're going to get up to speed again, and we are going to start really going. Anything above 155, and this car is starting to walk away from everything else. The Eclipse is about the only, and the airplane Porsche build that we have for this class are the only two that'll do about 160. So right here, we're already walking away from this other Skyline. Now we're walking away from the Porsches. Now we're going 170. We're walking away from everything. And we will maintain that speed pretty much throughout the run. Like anything above 160 and you're getting ahead. So this car is very good. It's a lot of fun. Top speed is paramount. This is also one of the more highway tracks that this car excels at. That's why I wanted to show them to you. The other tighter tracks are a little tougher to maintain speed. It's not bad. It just doesn't do as good. We launch in third gear. It takes off very well with that all-wheel drive portion. Doesn't spin at all. So we just stay in it, boost out, enjoy ourselves. This track has got a weird texture to where the car will clip or it'll hit a small curb. So I always go to the right. I never want to dip down where those chairs and stuff are at because I've literally hit something and stopped multiple times. So we weave through here. We're staying in oncoming to the best of our ability because we want to be refilling that boost tank. Using any yellow boost we get to just get up to speed. We're doing 155, 156 right here uphill. We're leaving the Eclipse. We're leaving the Porsche. The other A cars we have, they're capped out right now, and they take a little while to get there. This car does well on the top end. It's got some legs, and it uses them. For the corner, I try to set up wide, turn in, but that car was there, so I kind of had to go around it. I was very lucky not to crash, honestly. But that's all right. We're still walking way away from the guy in second and third place. Unfortunately, those poor boys don't know what hit them. We gain a lot of momentum down the hill here. I set up a wide line. I'll stay on the left, and then I start to cut in early to just barely hit the inside of the checkpoint and go kind of as straight as you can through there, and then also stay tight if you can. Use the yellow boost to make that corner so that way you can hit that checkpoint and not have to hit the brakes. It's not a record-breaking run by any means, but that's a clean run. It shows you how well the car does on the highway. It's really quite good. What is up, you guys? If you made it this far in the video, you're in for a treat. I've been talking about how wide body kits, how skinny body kits change the positioning of the tires. We've been talking about how ride height adjusts how the car handles, and there's a lot of naysayers. Most of the naysayers don't hang out for this far in the video, and so we're going to let them continue to be ignorant. But for those of you that hang out, watch all of the videos, I always like to say I nestle in some information, some Easter eggs, if you will, or just information that you can benefit from. I've got some clips that I think you guys are going to really like. We take a car and we edit the values. We can edit a lot of different values within the game if you know where to look, you know how to do things. So we take a car and we go really skinny on the tires to where they're in the middle of the body. And you'll watch how the car performs on that. And then we take the tires and we go way outside the body, like super mega wide body kit. Like a 3-foot extension on the tires outside the car. And you see how that car performs. And I want you guys to see that there is a huge difference between super skinny and super wide. It's very exaggerated because that's the easiest way to see the difference is we take the exaggerations and we bring them to you so then you can deduce for yourself what little changes would make. When I say it's the last 5% of the tuning when we do a wide body kit versus a skinny, I really do mean that. Like we're really only tuning very small things. We've been working on trying to show the difference in like the tires when we actually go to choose, if I get the Kumos and put them on there or if you do the Toyos or whatever. And it was difficult because there's no nice way to show footage of that and be able to say, here, surefire, this is what it does. Here's how it affects it. So what I've done is we've made content that we know for sure we can show you beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like here's the differences. You can clearly see them. Take away from it what you can. So we show a wide stance. We show a very skinny stance. You'll see that the car body rolls on the skinny stance. Like it will actually almost roll over. And that's because the body, the mass, the weight calculation, however the game does it, is part of the body, and that is manipulated and balances on where the tires are at. So when you increase the stance of that, the body roll is different. The body handling physics in the game is different. So keep an eye on the clips. I do the best I can to kind of explain it to you. It's pretty goofy, but really at the end of the day, like we had to exaggerate it to the maximum so you could understand what it does differently and then take away from that, okay, it does make a change. There is a difference there. If you like the videos, thank you so much for hanging out, you guys. This is my hovercraft. It operates well with outside the normal limits of any game. Invisible tires are really fucking cool. But from the videos, you can take away, you guys, that ride height, width, And then we're trying to work on some that where like the width of the tires matter, because obviously the stance of the tires matters. So the width should too, because there is a value for that. But it's really hard to show that to you guys. It's just a feel thing, but I feel the difference. And so for the video, you can definitely deduce 100% that wide body changes from what skinny tires change. And then ride height would apply, because obviously our car can roll based on where the tires are at. And there's clipping issues and there's all kinds of stuff if you get the car too low. But anyway, take a look at the video here, guys. I am thankful for all of you. This is a little bit different content than I normally make, but I've had enough people that are divided on this that I want to get with the guys in the lab. We work on this together and we bring this to you. So thank you so much. Take a look at the clips. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. For this clip, this is the stock Porsche RSR. We have disguised our mystery driver so no one will know the identity of the individual driving the car. We don't want to expose anyone for their antics within the game. You will see that we've got the controller up on the top there. These are the direct inputs, so you can see that our driver is going full throttle and turning to the right in second gear to simulate what a burnout and a donut would look like. So just take a look at the way the car handles, and then we'll roll into the next clip so you can see how the car handles differently with a little bit wider stance. The driver pulls out, does a donut. Pretty simple, not much to see. Now for this clip, you'll notice that we have a bit wider stance on our mystery driver's vehicle. We have edited the inputs of the game, or should I say the values, and therefore we've made the stance on the vehicle much, much wider. We do this to exaggerate how the car performs with a normal stance and a wide stance. We tried multiple attempts with just a normal wide body kit and the regular stance to try to show you, but it's really, really hard to show you a 5 or 4% difference in the way a car handles. So when we exaggerate the values like this, you can see a clear difference between the two and then deduce that smaller changes do make a difference, but not in so big of an impact. So let's just play the clip here and you'll take a look. Our mystery driver comes out, does the same thing as before, makes a hard turn to the right, full throttle in second gear, and the car handles much differently. Take a look. It's a full input to the right, full throttle, and the car doesn't even barely make a turn within that space. Let's play it one more time just so you guys can see. Take a look. We're full to the right once he pulls out. He's full throttle. The car turns much, much, much wider. So from that, we can deduce that a wide body kit, widening the stance of the vehicle, is going to change the turn radius of the vehicle and also how it performs there. So that's what we take away from this. Adding a wide body kit is going to change the way the car turns a little bit, thus making things feel more stable in some ways. Now in this clip, our mystery driver is in the 180SX. We've edited the values of the vehicle so the tires are as skinny as you can possibly get. We're talking the tires have been pushed into the middle of the car. This is more of a motorcycle at this point than it is a 180SX. But the way it handles and the way it turns is really what we're trying to show off here, because we think it's very important that we see exaggerated differences so you know when you make the little changes, you are making a change to the way the car handles. So we'll play the clip. The tires are on the inside. You'll notice the body is rolling on the center of where those tires are touching the ground. And so when it pivots from side to side, we can deduce that A, the body roll and the body mass does pivot on the tires, so there's more to it than just them being there. In addition to that, you'll see that the car is burning out and making very, very tight lines and is able to just spin around. Our driver's in first gear, burning out. It's pretty much full throttle, and the body is rolling on the chassis. We're going to play the clip once more for you. So keep an eye out to how the body is moving from side to side, meaning the center of mass and the center of gravity is there. There is a value for that somewhere in the game files. And then within that, the tires, they're burning out. The car is spinning. It's easy to do little small donuts, and it's just obviously very hard to handle, but the car is operating within its own zone based on where the tires are touching the ground. In this clip, we have done the same thing to this car, but we've taken the values and we've edited them way outside of the box. So where the tires, where you see them, is the physical value that we've input to exaggerate how a car handles with a wide body kit. You'll notice that our vehicle doesn't do donuts like it did with the very skinny tires. You'll notice that our vehicle makes very different turns. You'll notice that the body is not rolling from side to side because the game is considering where the body is at in relationship to where the tires are at as where its pivot point is. So there's pretty much no way you could flip this car, but regardless, we'll watch the clip. We try to start kind of up on those gray boxes both times and then do turns that are accurate, but it's just very, very, very different. So we are spinning and we are burning out. This would be essentially a donut because of how big of the stance are for the wheels. It doesn't rotate the same way. So our driver is just going full speed, making a very tight turn. We'll play the clip again. And they're not spinning out and doing small, tight donuts like they were before. You'll notice that the tires themselves don't have hit boxes. They clip through whatever they go through. So they can clip through walls. They can clip through cars. The body is the hit box, but the tires are the value for where the body meets the road. And so that's why the car is handling so much different here. In this last clip, our driver takes his car up an on-ramp. It's a right turn, and then he makes and uses an e-brake corner to come around the last bend. What you want to see is really how the car handles on the e-brake turn. We tried to do very similar lines here, but the cars are very hard to handle at the extremes. And so it does turn, but it has a tendency to want to burn out and slide, and so you got to kind of keep it dialed in. We're kind of in motorcycle mode here. You can kind of see the tire down there at the bottom under the car where the license plate would be at pretty much. So watch our driver. He's going to rip the e-brake and turn to the left here. Watch how the car handles. Okay. We'll play it one more time so you can see, just because honestly this is kind of funny. We took a lot of time to get this going for you guys, so hopefully you can kind of deduce the difference between very skinny and very wide on the tires. Obviously, these are very, very, very exaggerated inputs and performance of the vehicles, but sometimes you need to go to the maximum so you can see the small changes that we actually make. And you'll also notice that the body is rolling on those tires, implying that the tires touching the road are actually a part of where the car pivots based on its weight. Here's the same thing. Our car is very wide, very exaggerated stance. It's bumping and grinding. Obviously, the physics engine doesn't love how wide we've made the car, but it doesn't pivot or roll at all. I mean, there is no body roll because the shocks they don't even get a chance to play. The tires are out so wide. Watch the e-brake turn. That's why we're doing this clip. The car is much more stable and much more predictable. We'll play it one more time. So with the skinny tires, the car's hard to control. There's no stability. It wants to drift and slide all over the place. It's insane. With a very wide stance, the car is very predictable. The turning radius is much different. And the way the car e-brakes and turns is much more predictable. And also the body roll, where the body positions itself over the tires, is also a takeaway here. So that way we can understand how ride height would affect things. And because I want you guys to see how a normal car should handle, here we are doing it with just a normal setup on this RSX. We did every run in third gear and just wanted you to see kind of what it looks like when you're driving a normal car, how it kind of turns in pretty well, how it kind of slides just a skosh, what a normal e-brake turn at the end of this looks like.